Well, now a late look at what's been going on in the ATV region today. Two former officials at the Megan de Boisson Children's Home in Walsall are to appear in court on charges of ill treatment. Ex-director Bernard Blandel and Susan Wilkes, formerly the home's superintendent nurse, are both summoned to appear next month. Police inquiries into the running of the home began more than 12 months ago following allegations of cruelty and ill treatment. A council inquiry late last year revealed there were serious defects in the standards of child care. The children's home is run by a private trust. A man who speeded up his wife's death from diabetes by failing to get her medical treatment has been found guilty of manslaughter and put on probation for 3 years. Birmingham Crown Court heard that Edward Holcroft went to work leaving his wife Jane dying after he'd given her an overdose of insulin. Mrs. Holcroft, who'd collapsed 6 times in the month before her death, was said to be uncooperative over her treatment and developed a wish to be allowed to die. A Black Country firm is withdrawing a plastic Santa Claus suit from the market after an Oxfordshire woman was burned when the costume burst into flames. 21-year-old Teresa Parks is now nursing her injuries at her home in Caverton near Bryce Norton. She says the polythene Santa Claus suit caught fire at a fancy dress party and was a ball of flames within seconds, singeing her hair. Well, this is what happened when a lighted match was put to one of the suits. Well, now the mail-order firm that supplied 3,000 suits, Webb Ivory of Hales Own, has agreed to withdraw them. Now the latest news concerning the controversy caused by an operation mishap at a Hereford hospital. Here's Anne Diamond.
Despite a Commons debate late last night, there's to be no full-scale public inquiry into the case of David Woodhouse. He's the man who's been in a coma since May, when a routine appendix operation went wrong. Hereford MP Colin Shepherd forced the debate in the Commons and called for a public inquiry. He asked the minister to use his powers to summons doctors who've so far refused to give evidence on the advice of the Medical Defence Union. But Health Minister Gerard Vaughan said a full-scale inquiry would be too cumbersome. Instead, he recommended that an independent expert be brought in to investigate. Well, the Health Minister is in our London studio now. Dr. Vaughan, the Area Health Authority has asked you, the local MP has asked, why have we still got no full-scale public inquiry?
Well, a full-scale inquiry, which is of the kind he's asking for, is a very complicated thing to set up. It takes a lot of time, it needs a lot of eminent people on it, and it's very expensive. And it's really only used, very rarely, for things of national significance. Now, this is an absolute tragedy for this family. I'm very sympathetic. And I think it's something that ought to be sorted out locally, if possible. It's absolutely fundamental, if I may say so, that a health authority should know the facts of what has gone wrong, so they can be sure that it doesn't go wrong again.
But surely their problem all the way along has been the fact that the Medical Defence Union has silenced those doctors. Won't your independent expert come across exactly the same problem?
Well, I've now got some papers, some statements from the authority, which I believe, if they're looked at by an expert, might be sufficient for the authority to know exactly what happened. If it's not, I haven't ruled out the inquiry. I said we can fall back on a full inquiry if it's necessary.
A manhunt is on in Derbyshire tonight after 2 men armed with a sawn-off shotgun and a handgun ambushed a car in the Sinfin suburb of Derby. 2 shop workers inside the car handed over more than £2,000 in supermarket takings after being threatened, and the raiders escaped in a car which was later found abandoned. Princess Margaret was 2 hours late on her visit to Birmingham today because of the bad weather. Fog at Heathrow Airport meant she couldn't fly to Elmdon as planned, and she had to take the train instead. By the time the Princess arrived at the IMI Metalworks in Witton, the new machine she was supposed to start up had broken down. But she was given a short tour of the works where copper, brass and titanium products are made. And before she left to visit the Royal Society for the Prevention of Accidents Training Centre in Birmingham, the Princess was presented with a titanium brooch. Princess Anne was in the region too. She braved bad roads to drive 60 miles from her Gloucestershire home to Oxford, where she went to a carol festival in Christchurch Cathedral. In the freezing temperature, the Princess wisely chose to wear a warm emerald green coat with brown knee boots. The service, attended by 400 people in wheelchairs, was held to mark the end of the International Year of the Disabled. Among the other guests was Lord Snowdon, who's been president of the appeal in England. And that's it from the newsroom tonight. Good night.